But my beats, they are hard.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to another Sunday night edition of the BCSN SportsWrap alongside A.D. Drew. I'm Brian Fulford. As we come to the close of the end of the month of June, Drew. As can you believe it? We're almost at the halfway point of 2026. What's the latest with you, man? What's good? What's happening?
Oh, nothing much, man. Nothing much. It's just one of those days, man. One of those weekends, and just happy to be here with you, my guy, and kind of excited to finally get to these last five stories that we've got for the year. So yeah, just kind of excited for that. And Brian, I'm even more excited. Well, let me be honest with you. We tried to bring in some heavyweights to go over the top five, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And when we couldn't find any heavyweights, we had to settle for Stephen Gaither and Kyle Mosley. So,
oh, wow.
We did bring in the
wow,
HBCU
Drew. Man, I hope they didn't catch the intro here. I hope they're late logging in.
Those my guys. I kid because I care.
Okay. Well, as Drew said on today's episode, we have finally reached the. God dang it, I hate these little house flies. Anyway, we finally reached the final five, the top five, as we like to do on the SportsWrap, where we've gone through the top 20 of the 25 stories of the 25-26 year. So when we do have Kyle and Steve on, we'll have an opportunity to kind of get their thoughts on some of those stories. And then we'll go through the top five as well. And yeah, should be interesting. So if you guys have been keeping up with this, and I wonder, Drew, what I should have done? I should have put in the description of the show what the top 25 were. Maybe I'll go back in the post and include what the top 25 stories were. But I should have done that in the preview, so that way people could have followed along as we were going. But anyway, maybe I'll go back and do that in post on the other episodes. But if you've been keeping up with the stories, maybe you have some thoughts. We'd love to hear you in the chat. Those of you who are following us and watching us on the many platforms that we are on, of course, Facebook, my BCSN 1, Black College Sports Network, on YouTube, my JBN Online. Of course, we're streaming on Twitter, X, as they call it. Instagram Live is even pumping. So hello to anybody and everybody. Vera Stevens is watching on Instagram. Taylor SYL. I think that's Taylor Slide. I don't know. But what up, Taylor? Rev T.A. Brown also checking us out on Instagram Live. Hello to you, folks, for checking in. Of course, our folks who are watching on YouTube, Emmett Jones, Ken Rozier, checking in, Edwin Moore, and there'll be some others checking in as well. So good to have you guys. And as Drew said, in hour number 2, Kyle T. Mosley, Stephen J. Gaither. Drew, I'm thinking, I'm going to ask these brothers, what is the should I look to go now that I'm in my 50s, my golden years? Should I go with my middle initial? Should I transition? So you have gone to A.D. Drew, a much different guy than I knew in college. And I'm wondering, should I go with the middle initial? Should I go with my middle initial?
I don't even know what your middle initial is, Bryan.
There's a story, but I'm not going to get into it, but it's my father's first name, and my father's first name is rather old school. And there is a particular, there's a rub with the name. Look, my dad is very proud of his name. It's just, when I was growing up, there was a particular cartoon that his name would get confused with, and I found that to be very, obviously it was disrespectful, but it was very embarrassing. So I, for a long time, hid my middle. It was like, if you had to really, really know me, or be, a tax collector or the government, or, to really know to really know me, you have to know my middle name. So I don't share it a lot. If you know my father's name, you know what? It's funny, Edwin. Henry is actually my father's middle name.
Wow.
That is funny. Edwin said Henry. That is actually my father's middle name. My middle name is actually my father's first name. It is not something that I share a lot. And I'm wondering if.
Now, that's kind of odd, though, Bryan. Because usually back in those days, you say your father's middle name was Henry. Your name would be Henry, the first child. If they don't name him Junior, they usually give them the middle name of the father back in those days. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, that's so my father is a junior, and
you would have been the third if you would have been named directly after him.
Yeah, my mother fought like hell to make sure I was not a third. Wait
a minute. Kind of the same reason I did not name my son Junior, but gave him the same initials that I had.
Yeah. Okay, right. A lot of people do that too. They go with the initials, and I always, I thought I might, if I had a daughter one day, if I ever, at this age, that means I'm, if I find me somebody 20 years younger than me, I'm still able to have kids though, but anyway, I may have
she would still be legal even 20 years younger than you, so you good, bro.
Anyway, but there's a story there. But anyway, so I'm just thinking maybe I'll go with maybe you'll start to see me in the new season with the middle initial. I know that's becoming the thing these days. So, but anyway, Drew, quick update. We are going to a fourth overtime in my favorite WNBA game that's happening.
Oh my God, Bryan!
Yes, a fourth overtime. I can't even believe I'm still watching this thing. A fourth overtime, unbelievable. So anyway. Okay, we'll get into talking about other random stuff later on in the show. But let's get into a little bit of the news. Some more people are checking in. I see EA's checked in. What up, EA? My guy, Kelvin Rozier, checking in on Facebook. No, the earrings are not in. Jeremiah Clark checking in as well. Good to see you guys. Let's get into a couple of stories here. Oh, also coming up here in today's show, it's our HBCU football coaching draft. A.D. Drew and I are going to draft 5 coaches across any division. We've laid out the perimeters. We've talked it out. Regardless of division, Division 1 or Division 2 or NAIA. I mean, there are a couple that would qualify, although I don't think either of us are going that route, but who knows? I'm not speaking for you, Drew. And the person who gets the most wins from their coach, right? We will come up with some kind of award or some kind of bragging rights, or I don't know. We'll come up with a bet or something, where we get a chance to lay claim on that. So that's coming up. I have the first pick,
and we can cash in at the Celebration Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. We can cash in at the Celebration Bowl. I love it. The AD has picks 2 and 3. We're doing a snake draft, so I have pick 1. He has 2, 3. I have 4, 5. He has 6, 7. I have 8, 9, and he has the last pick. So we're only doing 5, and we're going there. So if you have any suggestions on who I should pick number one, I'm listening. I'm down to about 2 guys. So
and whichever one you don't pick, I mean,
you'll probably get the other guy
because we know who the top 3 are. So
yes.
I got the next 2 best. So I'm cool with that.
Well, I'll tell you, I did some number crunching on strength of schedule for the upcoming season. Yeah. So I did a little research on strength of schedule. And so that is kind of leaning me towards a particular person at number one, which may shock some people. It may be shocking to some people who I select with the number 1 pick. Yes, I will say that. So, okay, so let's go. Let me see. Appreciate. Let's see. Lennon Blow also getting in there. Good to see you, my Spartan brother. Good to see you. Fangs up. Keith checking in. Appreciate you, Keith. Appreciate everybody for hitting the like button. Share it with the family. Subscribe to the podcast. Let me see a few other comments. Let's see. Well, I don't know. Keith asking who the first pick. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Will it? I don't know. Could be. Emmett, I'm gonna table your question. Wanted me to comment. I'm not commenting on in WNBA drama, but I will say there is nothing like the WNBA Twitter in the summertime. I told y'all, I think I said this back in May. The WNBA Twitter is the best and funniest. Now, again, I look at everything on Twitter as funny. Some people really get bothered and triggered by stuff. I view everything on Twitter as, it's either for sharing information or making fun of this, right? And so if you follow me on Twitter, look, I'm not always serious. I try not to get too political, but I will point out the craziness of things that I see. But WNBA Twitter is hilarious. That's all I'm gonna tell you. So that's all I can say. Okay, anyway. If you know, you know. Okay, let's okay, story number 1 as we're leading off here. Today's the week that was. The CIAA made some news on a couple of different fronts. A couple of big story news come out of the CIAA. And I guess the first one we'll talk about, Drew, is that the CIAA Board of Directors extended Commissioner Jackie McMillan Parker's contract. I'm sorry, what I said? I thought I said McWilliams. Okay, McWilliams. Thank you. Good correction. Yeah. Jackie McWilliams Parker's contract through 2031 at the spring board meeting, which was at Lincoln University. I don't know why they call it spring because it's summer when they're having these things. But anyway, McWilliams Parker is the longest tenured HBCU Sports Conference commissioner. That's interesting. Been hired since 2012. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed Dr. McClellan, to be honest.
No, when you think about it, when why am I drawing a blank? Retired from the MEAC.
Mm-hmm. Dennis Thomas. Dr. Dennis Thomas.
Dennis Thomas. Yeah. I mean, she was the only other one around besides McClellan at that point in time. And knowing that McClellan had just been hired not too long before when Dr. Thomas retired, just process of elimination, just kind of put.
Right. She was hired in 2012. She is the first Black female to lead an HBCU league. Of course, now she is not the only, as she has been followed by Commissioner Sonia Steels of the MEAC, who actually followed Dennis Thomas. And then, of course, Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes, who previously led what was the GCAC and into the HBCU AC. So, 3 of the 5 HBCU conferences are led by women, Black women. So the board approved the extension through 2031 following its annual review of her tremendous performance over the years. She's been responsible for spearheading advances in the championship competition, academic success, institutional growth, broadcast and tournament contracts. Remember, the CIAA was the first network or first conference to have a conference-based network, right? So they were the trendsetters of that. I'm looking here on HBCU Legends that, let me see. She was hired in 2012, a contract extension through 2031. Dr. McClellan was hired in the summer of 2018 and has a contract through 2032. Sonia Steele hired in January 1 of 2022. Dr. Holloman of the SIC hired in September 1 of 2022. And Dr. Barnes, Kiki Baker Barnes, was actually, you would say that she was the commissioner of the GCAC, which transitioned into the HBCU AC back. That goes back as far back as what, 2019 when we were working with them, Drew?
Either 18 or 19, but she was a part-time commissioner.
That's
at
right.
that point, because she was still athletic director at Dillard. And for a lot of people who don't know, back in the day, the commissioners also used to be athletic directors at one of the schools back in the day. But through the years, they slowly moved away from that model. And of our HBCU conferences, the then GCAC was the last conference to kind of move away from that model.
Right.
Hired a full-time commissioner.
Yeah, she is recognized as the first full-time Black woman commissioner of an athletic conference among all NCAA divisions. So I know Steve just kind of pointed that out as well. So congratulations to Mrs. McWilliams Parker, the Commissioner McWilliams Parker, I guess is the better title of saying that. I don't believe she's a doctor yet.
No.
Okay, just Commissioner McWilliams Parker. Okay.
We've got 3 doctors, Dr. Baker Barnes,
Yes.
Dr. Holloman, and Dr. McClellan.
Dr. McClellan, correct. All right, good catch. Okay, now the other piece, anything you want to add before we go to the other piece of news there?
No, congratulations. She's been doing a tremendous job there. I've only got one thing I need her to focus on since she's got this contract in her purse now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get the social up for the CIAA.
Twitter still exists. I don't know when. I don't know. The CIAA does. Are they even active on Instagram?
Not
Instagram's
really.
on dead too.
Yeah, they do everything else.
They do
tremendous.
Yes, but
except the social piece,
right? Which is. I know it's challenging. Their website stays up to date. I mean, they post articles. It is fascinating that if you go and look at their Twitter handle, I think the last story was like from maybe 2019 or something like that. And the Instagram, I thought they were keeping up with the Instagram during the football season, but that too is which is crazy. I don't, hey, look, I'm not going to get in other people's business, but if you're looking for someone, I might be available. Just saying. Anyway, let's kind of keep moving.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of work, but anyway. Well, the latest announcement. Steve, we got some breaking news here. All right, so maybe we'll start to see some updates.
Yeah,
as they have hired some people. That's good. That's a positive. And they have the largest. Wow, they have the largest conference office in Division II. Well, all right. Step your game up, CIAA.
Is that in D2 or the HBCU D2?
He said in D2.
I just want to make sure if we're talking all of D2.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's a new. Well, I guess can we say, is this correct that there is a new playoff well, how do we describe it? I'm going to read the article right from the headline on HBCU Game Day. NCAA playoffs focus push behind the CIAA scheduling push. Reading here from Stephen J. Gaither's article on HBCUGameDay.com. Now, it looks like the CIAA is going to take a page in some form or fashion from what the SIEC did a year ago, in that obviously the teams, the CIAA only plays a 10-game schedule. They leave the final week of the regular season with the final week of the D2 regular season open for all of their teams so that the top two teams play in the CIAA football championship game. Well, starting this fall, the teams that are third and fourth will have an opportunity to play another game. Now, that is similar to what the SIAC just recently did, Drew, correct? Because the SIAC recently created a partnership with another conference, right? What was that? The
Conference Carolinas.
Conference Carolinas. So that way the teams who are third and fourth have an opportunity to play an extra game and get an 11th game on their schedule. And how did that help this past year in 2025?
I guarantee you that's the main reason Kentucky State got in.
Okay. So they, normally and you had three teams from the SIC get into the playoffs because Kentucky State did go 9-2, if I'm not mistaken, right? Really, 9-2 in total, but really 9-1 because you can't count the loss to Grambling.
Correct. And the other loss was to Albany State.
Correct. So they
did not play Benedict in the regular season.
Right. They went 9-1. Who knows?
In Division II.
Right. Who knows? Kentucky State may not have actually gotten into the playoffs had they only been considered 8-1. So it did work out. And I think whoever was in the other game, I think may have lost that game, whoever the fourth place team was.
Allen.
I think they lost their game.
Yes.
But so what this according to the article here, the sources have confirmed that the CIAA football committee approved a proposal at the spring meetings that would match the conference's third and fourth place teams during championship week. The measure reportedly passed by an 11-1 vote and is expected to be formally unveiled during the football media day on July 15th. According to the article, it's not officially known if it's the third versus fourth matchup or the date, which Friday seems to be the only option unless they played it at an alternative site, maybe at noon.
And then could be home site.
On a home site, right? Say it's Saturday at noon, because obviously you don't want to conflict with the actual game of the championship game. So whatever time the championship game starts, maybe, I don't know, 4. What time does it normally start?
It's varied.
Yeah. So let's say they started at 4 or 5
that's
o'clock.
Gonna be probably based on TV, TV and everything.
Right. So it's still up to date as to whether the location. I like your idea where they're still trying to determine the venue. I like the home. I like the home and home thing, but I mean, there's a lot of things that may have to go into that because obviously that creates a challenge in itself for the school because you don't know who the school is going to be until Sunday after week number 10.
We've done it here in the SIAC for 4 years. The SWAC, well, SWACs are so far thus far has pretty much been sold up a couple of weeks in advance, but you do have these calls where you go through a couple of weeks and you just start planning, you put everybody on alert, and you get ready to activate the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Tell
possible.
everybody you will not be working. You will have to work the second weekend in November until otherwise told.
Okay. So we see it can be done. But I would think that would go to the third place team. The third place team would get a host that, right?
I mean, you would think if they're going to play it
Right.
on home site, unless you go neutral, you would
Yeah.
you would put it on the.
But there's I would imagine there's probably more cost with doing a neutral.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
yes and no, unless
no.
you got both, and if you put them both in the same stadium.
No, you. I don't think you would want to do that. No.
Right. That would be the only way that a neutral site for that makes sense if you put them both in the championship stadium.
No, I would. There was no way I would want to. No, I don't even think that's
like Friday night for your
yes.
third
Now,
place
if you're
game.
talking about a Friday night, now again, Friday night, there's people who still hold religiously to Friday nights in high school football. So if you did a Friday night thing, what does that look like in the same stadium?
Right.
Now that could be an option, but again,
because you've already think about it. You're already gonna have your TV partner there, however you're broadcasting it.
Field is turf.
Yeah, you're already gonna have that there. You already have staff there. You already have all your operations there. So if this is a conference production, from a conference perspective, it makes sense to put everybody in the same location.
Right.
And the whoever it is going to love the extra hotel rooms they get to sell also.
Yeah. Oh. God dog it. So again, go check out the article, HBCUGameDay.com. All of that info there. Appreciate the breaking news there, or the info gathered by Steven. And it's a good read, but a lot of stuff. And I didn't know that that I think we had talked about this, or we knew a little bit that the CIAA was moving away from divisions.
Yes.
So that too will be kind of interesting to see now that that's no longer a factor.
So with that leaves the SWAC on the clock.
It does. It does leave the SWAC on the clock. I wonder, given the fact that we're only halfway through the 10-year scheduling matrix, that'll be you know what? Put that one in the pen as questions to ask at SWAC Football Media Day. And the question is, what are the obstacles or challenges with moving away from divisions, let's just say with 3 years left on the scheduling matrix? Because I would imagine this is not something they'll do spur of the moment. They'll probably put a 2-year buffer if it came out at SWAC
at least 1 year for budgeting purposes.
So I'm going to guess 2028. I'm just throwing it out there, just me talking. 2028, SWAC football goes divisionless. That's a bold prediction by Brian Fulford. Nobody else. I haven't talked to anybody. I have no insider information. But if it were to happen, I'm guessing 2028. Although, look, I don't know, man. The SWAC, they changed the basketball format on the drop of a dime. So who knows? They may say in 2027 we're going divisionless. So I don't know. But we'll see. We shall see. Side note, Drew. 4 overtime WNBA game comes to an end. I lose by a point. God bless it. Jesus. 4 overtime WNBA game. Fantastic. Unbelievable. And the bad part is the girl had an opportunity to win the game. She was 2 feet from the bucket, and she missed the shot. And I think on the putback, somebody called a timeout like when she was driving. I mean, she just missed a wide open drive to the bucket. I mean, anyway. Thanks, Portland Fire. But anyway, it's that's why they call it, little G. Anyway, all right, let's kind of keep it moving here.
Yeah.
Let me see what other story I know you had. Let me go to the.
We need to get into this draft so we can get into our top 10.
Okay, draft time. So
Top
you want to
5.
hit? Well, I know what the other article was. Okay. Oh, eligibility and stuff like that. But okay, we can maybe. Who knows? Okay, so let's go to top 5 coaches for the 2026 season. Now, this all spurs from, the article that HBCU Sports did recently where they ranked the top 10 coaches in Division I football. Right? And so we had a little discussion regarding it. And, Drew and I, said, you know what, there's a great draft opportunity here to go ahead and draft our top 5 coaches for 2026. I'm just writing this down here so I get this. So I got first pick, then Drew. Okay.
And I'm ready to take my notes so that I know which one
I got it written down here. Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to shock a little people. I'm going to shock some people here with my first selection. And it's a bit of a roll of the dice. Let me go back and see if I can find that story again. Quickly, where was it? Top 5, top 10 coaches. Okay. Anyway, based on strength of schedule for the upcoming year. Now, we are not discarding games, right? We're going with the record is what the record is, wins and losses.
So we're going overall, not just conference.
Correct. This is overall wins and losses.
All right, let's set the parameters.
Yes, go ahead.
Overall records.
Yeah.
Number 1. And this can include all 3 levels, and they must be a current head coach of a HBCU at one of our 3 levels.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. Let me see as I go through here, and I wanted to pull up that article here that led us down this path. Okay, here it is. Top 10 best Division I coaches. This was list put together by Kendrick Marshall of HBCU Sports.
And I think they did a D2 list also.
They may have. I think I saw something on there. Okay. Okay. I'm not having second thoughts here, but I am. Okay.
I'm waiting.
The number 1 pick. I'm going with a team. This is going to shock. I don't think if you on your draft board, Drew, you probably have a top 3. I bet my pick is not on your top 3. But what should be factored in is my coach has the best player in HBCU football leading his team. So with the number 1 pick in the 2026 BCSN SportsWrap HBCU football draft, I am taking the recently named Hall of Famer of the Black College Football, Pro Football Hall of Fame, Eddie Robinson Jr. of Alabama State. With the number 1 pick. There we go. E-Rob.
E-Rob.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that pick? Was he on your top 3 on your draft board?
No.
I didn't think he would be. And again, I'm basing my pick off strength of schedule, which according to my computations, they have one of the easiest strength of schedules based on team performances from 2025. And they have the best quarterback in Andrew Body returning. They won 10 games last year. including a victory. And the one loss was one of the two losses was a last second to Jackson State. They have Jackson State at home this year. They have FAMU at home this year. The schedule is ripe and right for another 10-win season. You know what? Yes, he may be injury prone, but I also believe Alabama State has the second best quarterback possibly in the SWAC as his backup. So I feel very comfortable in picking Eddie Robinson Jr. and Alabama State with my number one pick. Okay, Drew. Now you have the next pick in round one and the first pick in round two.
All right, Brian, since you went way off the board, I'm not that bold, Brian. I'm going with Captain Obvious.
Yeah, I get it.
Chennis Berry.
Yeah.
The man has won 28 consecutive. No, let me count. 28 consecutive conference games across two divisions, across two schools, Brian.
Pretty impressive.
He is the Bill Russell of coaching right now. Nothing but conference championships.
Yeah.
So he's there are not enough accolades on this. So, I mean, and until beaten, he is the defending coach, the coach of the defending national champion.
Yeah, I get it. Good pick. Okay, so Drew picks Chennis Berry with his first pick in the first round. Now we move to round two. Your first pick in round two, Drew, is?
My first pick in round two. I am going to. I do have a little bit of a shocker on this one, but we're going for overall victories, correct?
Correct. Overall victories.
Dr. Alvin Parker.
Woo! Wow.
Dr. Alvin Parker. I know everybody's going to, I know who everybody thinks I should pick, one of two people.
Wow. I did not see this coming.
But
I did not see
given
this.
the parameters, if we're going with overall victories,
yeah,
the man does not lose in the regular season, Brian.
Yeah, you probably get about 8 wins from him.
And you talk about all those quarterbacks that your number one pick has. Yeah. This guy is gonna find another stable. It has a stable of running backs, so he's gonna have another running back somewhere.
Yeah.
So consistency matters with this.
Yeah. No, Emmett. And just to clarify, Emmett, we are picking all HBCU football coaches. You know, because this is what Drew wanted to do. Drew said that he didn't feel like we could.
After we got about 4 or 5 on the Division I, we was gonna be scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's why we had to open it up. I'm just being honest with you guys.
Ouch.
Especially given some of these schedules that these teams have this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's intriguing. Okay. I'm shading towards strength of schedule. And this coach, while I mentioned that Alabama State has one of the easiest strength of schedule opponent win percentage from a year ago, this program actually has their opponents were worse than Alabama State's last year. And he will be a contender in the East. I'm talking about, now the question is, will he host another SWAC championship game? But they will be in the hunt. And so with the second, now I could go two ways here. I could choose to pick one of my two selections over the other, but I'm just going to put it I feel comfortable being able to pick 2 picks here. So with the last pick of round 2, I'm taking the Jackson State head football coach, none other than T.C. Taylor. That's right. Another. Now I may be hurting myself here by having 2 coaches that are going against each other at some point during the season, but I'm factoring in the fact that the rest of the regular season they will avoid. Why do I suck? What did I do? I picked TC. What do you want from me, Jeffrey Carroll? I picked him over the first pick in the 3rd round, which is Quinn Fordham Gray Sr. So I am picking Quinn Fordham Gray Sr. with the pick for in the top of the 3rd round. And again, I'm going off of opponent strength of schedule. Of course, Coach Gray, formerly of Albany State, returns home in his first season at Florida A&M. He has a quarterback who he's, won a championship with. And I believe, my broadcast partner, Kelvin Rozier, said the Rattlers are going to win 9 games. I don't think he's wrong. I don't think he's crazy for setting the bar at 9. At minimum, I think it's 8, to be honest with you. And with the strength of schedule of our opponents, I'm going with Quinn Gray Sr. for my first pick in round 3.
So, given that, Bryan, my pick to close out round 3 is none other than the coach of the SWAC champion. That dog mentality. TJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tremaine Jackson.
There you go.
So it's kind of good, Bryan, because one of us is going to get to one up the other one at some point in time this season.
Exactly. It's a good pick. So last pick of round 3 goes to Tremaine Jackson, and you get the first pick in round 4, Drew.
I'm taking my notes as we getting ready, waiting on the call from the GM.
This will be interesting. This is a crucial pick right here. This is going to change my board. This might change my board right here based on what you do here. I'm going to see where you go here. This will be interesting. I'm slightly nervous here. I think you may take my guy. I'm wondering here.
Are you wondering?
Yeah. Nervously waiting here for you to load the graphic.
It might be your guy. It might not be your guy. But Bryan, I like consistency. I like predictability. So with that, I go with Richard Hayes.
Woo! Whoa! Okay. Wow! Another Division II.
Always in the CIAA championship game.
Yeah.
So I'm going for consistency.
Okay. That's a bit. That is the shocker for me. I may have shocked you with my number 1 overall pick, but that is a shocker for me, given who is still on the board. Okay. So I'm going to finally get out of the SWAC. And yes, I am not, as many of you have pointed out in the chats, I'm taking a chance by going my first 3 picks being all SWAC East. It's very dangerous. But
they got to play each other.
And hey, one may, I could end up theoretically with 1 loss by all of them. One team beat one team, the other team beat the other, and the other team beat the other. But the reason I went number 1 pick, Eddie Robinson, is he has a home game over the other 2 coaches. So that is why he's my number 1 pick. But my number 4 pick from out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, the standard bearer, a conference champion, Celebration Bowl champion, and they will once again contend for a title. I have no doubt about it. And they have a very good schedule. It's in the bottom in terms of bottom, if we broke it down in the strength of schedule based in thirds, it's in the bottom third of easiest schedule. Trey Oliver of North Carolina Central will be my 4th pick and the 2nd pick in round 4. That's right.
I can respect that one.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me see. Off the board.
I've got them. I could go back through it as we get ready for our last round.
Yeah, I got it written down too.
Starting with number 1, Eddie Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
Brian, you picked Eddie Robinson Jr. in round 1. Your first pick. TC Taylor was your 2nd pick. Quinn Fordham Gray was your 3rd pick, and Trey Oliver was your 4th pick. My top picks. So I started it off with Chennis Berry, followed by Dr. Alvin Parker. Then my 3rd round pick was Tremaine Jackson, and my 4th pick was Richard Hayes out of Fayetteville State.
Okay. My last pick will be from the Division II ranks.
Oh, you finally gonna go D2, huh?
I'm finally gonna go D2.
You gonna learn the wins are in the D2 level, Brian.
Well, I hope the winning continues.
Because D2 only gonna play 1 check game, not 5 like the SWAC does.
I'm going. I really like what this man has done in his program. And after last year, we have watched this program rise from the ashes. And last year was a great season as they won their first CIAA championship since 1969. But I don't think they are satisfied with just winning a conference championship and getting to the playoffs. I believe the players in that program know what it takes. And I think Maurice Flowers, who I will select with my last pick in the 2026 HBCU coaches draft, is who I'm rolling with, Drew. Maurice Flowers of Johnson C. Smith. There we go.
Let's see.
Your final selection, Drew, for the draft. Final selection.
Who has not been on the board yet? Tick, 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 tick.
Well, hold on before let me answer Lennon's question here. Lennon, just again, I did not select Chennis Berry first overall, and he was off the board by the time I picked Trey Oliver. So just so you know. All
right. So for my last pick, this is actually my pick to win the SIAC, Brian. So I'm going back to the small school ranks, to the mid-major ranks. I'm going with Ron Dickerson out of Benedict.
Okay.
Ron Dickerson Jr. to be exact.
Yeah. Okay. Ron Dickerson Jr. of Benedict. Benedict had a great season. A great season. No, exactly. No, he did not go with Deshaun Jackson. Surprising. But amazingly, Drew has gone. Now, Drew, this doesn't surprise me, folks. This is why I felt like Drew wanted to include Division II coaches. Notice of his 5 selections, Drew has 3 Division II coaches. Now, I really wonder, is that a product of Drew picking second and third, or would Drew's strategy have been different had he picked first? I don't know. Drew's big board, I got a feeling Drew's big board, if he had his top 10 overall, he's got these 3 coaches he selected. Probably, I'm guessing, Drew, these 3 coaches are probably at least in your top 7.
Yeah, definitely.
So see, Drew is playing an interesting game, but I think I think it's kind of interesting that he went the route he did. All right, so let's do it. Here's the quick recap. You can bring us back onto the 2-man screen, Drew. My top 5. I have first overall Eddie Robinson Jr., second T.C. Taylor, third Quinn Gray Sr., fourth Trey Oliver, and fifth Maurice Flowers. Drew, first overall Chinnis Berry, second Dr. Alvin Parker, third Tremaine Jackson, fourth Richard Hayes, and fifth Ron Dickerson Jr. And again, this was a snake draft where your boy had the first pick, Drew had second and third, and it's kind of how it rolled the way it did. So we will, as the season goes along, no Brian Jenkins Sr. didn't make the cut list. Is there any name other than Brian Jenkins Sr.? You guys in the chat, very quickly, is there anybody that you are surprised that we did not select in our top 10, in our personal top 5s? Are you surprised? Any name left off?
Who's your first UDFA? If you had a UDFA.
You know what? Probably Felton Huggins, Kentucky State. I mean, you could also throw in there Dr. Henry Frazier. I think both of those guys are quality coaches. I just don't, I don't know if Deshaun Jackson is going to have the same level of success that he had this past year. I don't know if I'm all in. And then after him, heck, the only other coach that I'm kind of curious about, I don't know, there's really nobody else at Division I level that I'm really curious about. The wild card might be Marshall Faulk, but
here's my UDFA as we get ready to go to break.
Yeah.
Chris Dishman.
I think hearing about the home stadium situation this year, I think is going to be a story that I don't want to say it's going to be a distraction, but it could be a distraction. And I don't want to draft that potential distraction. Does that make sense what I just said there? I
got you. Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So when we come back from the break, we'll ask Kyle and Steven what they think of our draft and our top 5 coaches.
As we get into the top 5 stories of the year.
As we get into the top 5 stories of the 2025-26 year. Yeah. So we'll recap again, but let us know your thoughts in the comments. And when we come back, we'll have Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends on SI and Stephen J. Gaither of HBCUGameDay.com. That's A.D. Drew, and I'm B.W. Fulford, and we'll be back right after these messages.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement. a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market. Build your legacy. Secure your future today.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
All right. Let me get the settings right.
I saw Steve in the back room, but his camera's not working.
Yep, he's having a few technical challenges as I get the thing. But joining us, we got Kyle T. Mosley joining us, founder of HBC Legends on SI. Kyle, what's good, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you guys doing?
Man, blessed. Glad to be here. Thanks for joining us, man. Hold on. Here we go. I think we got SJG joining us. Steven, how you doing?
Hey, he is.
What's up? How y'all doing today?
What's going on, Steve?
Founder of HBCUGameDay.com, Stephen J. Gaither joining us. So out of the chat and onto the screen. Good to have you brothers on. All right. So you heard and then first off, I don't know if you guys heard our whole parameters with what we did with our HBCU football coaching draft. But we were drafting the top 5 just overall coaches for the upcoming season. So Drew and I are going to base it off of wins. So again, I'll let you guys kind of react. And if you want to give maybe your thoughts on who you might draft number 1 overall. I drafted Eddie Robinson Jr. first overall. Drew went with Chinnis Berry number 1 overall. Kyle, what's your thoughts as you I think you were in for most of the segment. I saw you in the background. What's your thoughts on what you heard?
Well, Bryan, you got to be able to put me first. Chennis Berry. You know, he won the national championship. You've got to put Coach up there. 31 straight conference wins from his days back in D2 with Benedict to now at South Carolina State.
Jesus.
31 straight conference wins. So you have to give the edge to the champion, Chennis Berry.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I looked past that stat, Kyle. I appreciate you telling me after the fact. I did not factor that in. Jesus.
I did.
Yeah, obviously. Steven, what's your thought on the number one overall picks, or who would you put in as your top?
I would say, I mean, you can't go wrong with Chennis Berry. I mean, obviously, not only did he, just win all those games, but he won the last game. So, I mean, it's hard to, if you got to pick number one. Yeah, I don't know how you passed up, number one. I'm just gonna, be for real. But if you're talking about, wins, I don't know. I have to look at Alabama State schedule a little bit closer, because there are only 5 MEAC games. But yeah, I can't really argue against Chennis Berry, and I wouldn't try. But I mean, there's probably 3 guys on that list that I, could understand, could understand why they would be up there.
This is all I got to say. Michael Jordan was the 3rd overall pick in 1984. Hakeem Olajuwon was the 1st pick. Do anybody even remember who the 2nd pick was?
Was it Skywalker?
No.
Wait a minute. First off, those 2 were in the same draft.
Yes, they were.
Right?
Wait a minute.
Yes, they were. Hakeem Olajuwon was the 1st pick in the 1984 draft. Michael Jordan was the 3rd pick.
Who was number 2? No, it was Skywalker.
Sam Bowie went 2nd. Sam
Bowie. Sam Bowie. Damn. I'm thinking Skywalker. I'm thinking Bowie.
Right
Kentucky.
school, wrong person.
Right school, wrong guy. Right. Okay, yeah. Well, again, the reason I went with Eddie Robinson was 2 factors. A, when I did the math on strength of schedule, Alabama State has one of the easiest schedules, and I think when you guys do the math, you will come to the same viewpoint. And that was point 1. Point 2, they have the best player in HBCU football. And number 3, they have at home their 2 biggest opponents in the SWAC East, Jackson State and FAMU at home. Prairie View. Oh, see, I didn't even factor that in, but so factor all that in. It's SWAC championship or bust for Andrew Body and Eddie Robinson Jr. And I think they got 10 wins a year ago. I think they're very capable of putting 10 up again. So that's what I was factoring in. So doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm just letting you know. Look, Steve's still like, yeah, but you passed on Jordan. That's Steve that look like, yeah, you passed on Jordan though. That may come back. I got a lot on, but
yeah.
And I think Coach Tremaine Jackson is going to have something to say about this at the end as well.
Yeah, he might. He very well might.
Drew, so.
Okay, fellas. So as we have compiled now, Drew, did you end up sharing the other top 25 stories with?
Yes, I did.
Kyle okay.
I shared it this afternoon with him.
So before we get into the final 5, as you kind of glanced at some of the other stories of the year, were there any stories within that set of from 6 to 25 that we had on our list that maybe you looked at and said, you know what, that was a top 5 story for me, or maybe something that we had too low that you might have higher, or maybe a story that we missed out. Obviously, you guys know what the top 5 is, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But anything that you thought we missed? Let me start. I'll start with Steve.
Well, when I look at the list, there's one for me that I feel like definitely should be higher, but I think we'll get a chance to talk about that, in this segment. So we'll go there. But there's one I thought was a little bit high, and I've been pretty vocal about it. This unified poll, it doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, it's another poll, and I vote in polls, and I know polls are part of
Everybody
college
on here
football.
does.
It's another poll. Like, I know conferences want you to be excited about it, and I mean, it's another poll, but hey, it's up there.
All right, Kyle.
Well, first thought, I have to be a homer. Anything Morehouse should be in the top 5. Anything Morehouse. Last year was so historic. We just have to be able to take it. Anything Morehouse, right? And Steve, I guess you guys, Winston-Salem has some good runs as well, right? But to be honest with you, that Prairie View football run, that should be in the top 5, in my opinion. Watching it firsthand here, understanding some of the nuances that happen behind the scenes to be able to make it happen, I think that should be somewhere in the top 5.
And what was it for us, Drew? Was it like number 6?
Yeah, I think it just missed the top 5.
Yeah, we debated. Trust me, Kyle. We definitely debated.
Yeah, and it was tough when we got down to the top 5. We was like, it's top 10. All right, if we put this in the top 5, what do we remove? And that's where a lot of this trepidation came from.
Right.
Well, and I'll say, because I do have my homer one that's too low. We'll talk about that in a second. Beyond that, though, I think Howard, just overall as an athletic program, is too far. It's too low.
Yeah. I can respect that.
Over the years, I've had, I've had Howard people say that I like to try to beat up on those guys and all of that stuff. And, of course, everybody has to hate them. No reason to hate them. But, over the past, since the MEAC realignment has changed, they have stepped up into that seat where they're the dominant program in the MEAC, which I don't know that anybody thought, pre-pandemic we would ever be saying, so I just think what they've done, in the MEAC as well as the other conferences that they're in as well, 10 championships in 1 year, including, sweeping golf and I believe swimming and diving in, especially in those sports that we're not supposed to be good at and competing not just against other Black folks, but competing against PWIs. Them doing that, I think that has a lot of symbolism there. So I would say that probably should be higher as well. I know you got the women in there, but I think that would be higher as well. And then they swept the basketball titles. So
so the women had 6. I believe, was it 6 or
7?
7?
7 for the women.
And you mentioned 10, so I didn't even know what the overall number was. I just thought 7 coming from just the women alone, they carried that athletic program mystique. So, I mean, I thought just from the women alone, that was impressive. But, 10 overall is that's pretty significant. Maybe, I would say maybe we did have the women too low. I mean, maybe not giving the women enough of their flowers for what they did. I don't know. So you got me on that one. Okay. All right. Drew, are we ready to go through the top 5?
Yes.
All right, fellas, here we go. We're going to start off with story number 5. Again, should I recap any of the top 10, Drew, up to this point?
For the sake of time, we can get them all at the end.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Story number 5. Story number 5 was Virginia Union's Curtis Allen winning the Harlan Hill Trophy. The Virginia Union running back became the first HBCU student athlete to win the Harlan Hill Trophy, which is presented on the Division II level as the National Player of the Year. It is like the Heisman Trophy for those who want that parallel. He's the first player from Virginia Union or the CIAA to receive the award. And before Allen, the best HBCU finish included North Carolina Central's Earl Harvey, who was third in 1988, and former teammate Jada Byers of Virginia Union, who finished fourth in 2022. The statistics this season spoke for themselves. Allen rushed for 2,386 yards, 30 touchdowns, scored 180 points, averaged just shy of 200 yards per game, 8 yards per carry, leading all NCAA divisions, all divisions in several major categories. It was just a phenomenal season by Curtis Allen, winning. And like I said, on the heels of he was playing behind Jada Byers, or maybe the last 2 seasons.
Right.
So to just kind of pick up the mantle and literally run with it to the Harlan Hill was pretty amazing. Your guys' thoughts, Kyle and then Steve.
Pretty impressive. If you look at what he was able to accomplish, like you said, the equivalent to the D1 Heisman, Curtis Allen has done tremendously well, especially in that program. And coach keeps cranking out the running backs, doesn't he? And I just think right now, I hope he does well over in Seattle. I know he was invited to the Seahawks rookie mini camp, right? If he's going to summer training camp, I hope he does well there. There was some issues with his conditioning at the HBCU Combine, but all in all, Curtis Allen, congratulations.
Steve?
Yeah, well, being here in this part of the world and, covering Virginia Union the last couple of years since, they've, really become a premier program in the CIAA. Yeah, obviously, Jada Byers, everybody knew going back to 2022 how special he was. But, I had a chance to, see Curtis Allen up close and personal. He actually was there 2022, 2023, and 2024. So, he's been there the whole time. And a lot of folks maybe necessarily didn't see it because of, what Jada Byers did, which I thought Jada Byers should have won this award. I thought he should have won it in 2022, and I thought he should have won it in 2024. And, even, being somebody who covers HBCUs and the CIAA and D2, I understand now the Harlan Hill Award because, you think about all the great players in D2 football that have played at HBCUs, going back to Amir Hall a decade ago. I thought he should have won it, and he didn't. Even when, my Rams, when they went on those historic runs back to back, I think they were 27 and 2 in 2 seasons, and they had some really good players, and they didn't get that type of consideration. So after I saw Jada Byers not get it those years, I kind of foreclosed on it that it wouldn't happen, even though I knew he was good. Again, I've seen him for years, and I saw him up close and personal when he came and ran a rough shot over the Rams. I got in trouble because I said that they punished the Rams, and yeah, newsflash. I get in trouble in Winston-Salem too. So, but they said that I said he punished the Rams, and they did. Man, he was just a man amongst boys, and so happy to see him win the award. Would have loved for him to get drafted, but like you said, that goes to the amount of preparation, and it's tough to make it as a running back from an HBCU. Before Tariq Cohen went and got drafted in 2016, it had been 1998, the last time an HBCU running back had been drafted. So it's tough to make it. But looking forward to it, and hopefully he'll get a chance to make the team. But I also think there's another former D2 running back from the HBCUs that's trying to make the Seahawks as well, from Fort Valley State. So, it'd be great to have 2, but if we can get 1 in there, we'll see.
Drew, your thoughts there.
I'll be brief so we could push this segment. But anytime that you have an HBCU player who's the first at anything nationally, it deserves recognition. So henceforth, him being in the top 5 as the first HBCU player ever to win the Harlan Hill.
One quick follow-up question, because Steve, you mentioned Amir Hall. I don't even know, did Amir Hall even get any votes in the top 5 back when because I know we posted something where we were talking about one of the top passing seasons,
like
in
4,300 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he didn't even get any top 5 votes, did he? He didn't finish. I mean, Drew, you said who previously had got some recognition, but I don't even Amir Hall even getting that kind of consideration. So I guess my question was, what do you think changed, or what may have changed with the perception of maybe HBCU football players? Could it be the increased coverage, outlets like yourself and Kyle and others, or were the numbers just too audacious to even look past?
Yeah, I think you talk about Amir Hall. I'm not sure, but I do know that we were giving out an award at that time. He won our award, our national award. So I do remember. I did want to shout that out. But I don't know. I think that if you look at Virginia Union, their program last year, they didn't 2025. They didn't make us quite the run, but the year before they made a really high run. And I mean, just towards the end of the year, his numbers were really eye popping, and there was concerted effort to get him the ball to showcase his talents. I think he against Bluefield State he ran for something crazy like 320 yards, and I mean everything you thought that. I think it just built on what was going on, and maybe also there wasn't a standout quarterback from one of these power programs like in previous years. You had to deal with Trinidad Chambliss, so. It's going to be interesting as time moves on and Division II and Division I players go back and forth. But, hopefully you'll see some more guys get some recognition. So, yeah, but I think it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And he also won the Black College Football Player of the Year award as well.
Okay, good stuff. All right. Want to encourage anybody who's watching us on like Instagram Live or Twitter, come on over to Facebook, come on over to YouTube. That's where the chats are running. My JBN Online, Black College Sports Network on Facebook, My JBN Online on YouTube. I think Twitter has a button where you can comment as well, but I think you got to be on your computer to be able to do it. But some good comments in the chat. I was just checking the IG Live and see if anybody was there. Okay. Let's take a look at number 4. So the number 4 story from the 2025 season.
There's your Morehouse, Kyle. There's your Winston-Salem, Steve.
This is a congratulations for the historic championship droughts that finally ended. I mean, these were some impressive droughts. And they were all, teams that were really, really good this year. You had Johnson C. Smith in football ending a drought that had, they hadn't won the CIAA since 1969. Johnson C. Smith won the CIAA. Remember, Johnson C. we used to talk about as being one of the worst football programs in Black college football. Morehouse basketball not winning the SIC for 23 years. I mean, that's a long time this day and age. 23, that's like a generation. And then, of course, Winston-Salem State. When you do a first ever, that's pretty impressive for as long as the program had been around. The Winston-Salem State Lady Rams, a 28-4 record. So I just thought, giving these teams their flowers and just kind of saying, hey, this is a historic year for these 3 programs. It could not be dismissed. Your thoughts, Kyle?
Well, first off, to the ladies at Winston-Salem State, great. That was a very good program, very good basketball that you saw coming out of those out from the Lady Rams there. And Johnson C. Smith, man, Coach Flowers really set a great tone to be able to get that championship for those guys at the CIAA level. But, of course, Larry Dixon and the Maroon Tigers of the Morehouse College, they really set it on fire. and we're gonna brush aside what happened in February there, AD. So, but it was great to see what happened with Morehouse College, especially the program and what Coach Dixon was able to bring, as well as how he cultivated that talent and gave a championship there on Westview Drive.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, so I'll go down the list. Johnson C. Smith, it's about time. I mean, they're a program that, I made a joke about them playing in the first game, and that was the last time they had been over 500 as a program since, a couple years ago. But since then, they have definitely turned the tide. So shout out to Coach Flowers turning Beatty's Ford Road into a championship program. So I mean, but they've been building, Morehouse. Yeah, I was surprised that it had been that long since they won the SIC championship game. So I was able to be there for that. But I know that they generally have a pretty solid program, so not a huge surprise. But again, I'm gonna say, if I had to look at this list out of the three a year ago, if you say Johnson C. Smith is going to win the championship after an 8-2 season, I might still have my doubts, but that's a little bit of a little bit of personal vitriol. Morehouse, new coach, but for Winston-Salem State, that program 7 wins the previous year. I think 13 over the last 2 years. And you bring in a new coach, and so I mean everybody saw what they did, 28-4, including the loss to a D1 team, including a loss to the national runner-up. I mean, they smashed through the CIAA tournament, but so everybody got a chance to see that stuff. But me being able to see it up close and personal, because I live here in Winston-Salem, as well as being an alumnus and knowing like the backstories and being there and seeing all the people who have been involved with the program for decades, who have been waiting for this moment and for it to happen. It almost was like a fairy tale, but it was a real thing. And so, I mean, and then they went into the NCAA tournament, and they ran the first 2 teams that they played with off the court. So much so that if you watch that last game, it looked like they were determined they were not going to be able to run them off the court, and they ended up being the national runner-up. So, I mean, I would have never thought that. So, yeah, man, what a ride. And, congrats to all the programs. And I guess that means for everybody, there's always hope.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, there's always hope and prayer.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Drew, I don't know, before I come to you, I'm curious because both of you have said something. I want you to get, and I want to know what's one thing you both mentioned about knowing what you know about what it took to get there. Kyle, you mentioned it about Morehouse. Steve, you mentioned about Winston-Salem State. Can you share maybe something that you can share that really surprised you, or maybe just to give us a quick, like how tough of an obstacle or how big of an obstacle was it for Morehouse basketball or Winston-Salem State women's basketball to do what they did? Kyle, and then Steve.
Well, first of all, A.D. Ellis with a late hire of Coach Dixon and, the turnaround in that program, right? Yeah, Morehouse has put together some good basketball teams. And I recall when I was back there, we had some really, really good basketball teams with Ellis on it. But the thing is, man, I just have to say I was surprised that Larry Dixon, and knowing some of the hurdles he had to jump through just to get that program to where it was pretty tremendous. And the way he coached the young men, I was very impressed with him, as well as how he was able to do it with his staff.
Steve, how about you on the Winston-Salem State, being there and covering it and knowing a lot of back? What can you share about maybe something that surprised you? Or
I think I'll just remember that, the previous head coach, Coach Lamont, she was an alumna and she wore the colors and she wanted to be the one to bring a championship. She was the one that alerted me that they had never won one. And, didn't work out that way, but the way that it happened, she transitioned to a role in the athletic department as a fundraiser. And, and so she's, stepped away and was able to contribute in another way. And she was not intimidated by the success of Coach Lamont. I'm sorry, of Coach Terry. And, and also I just seeing the community rally around, like during the season, once they kind of got going, they decided to do a fundraising campaign, and their goal was to get 20K in fundraising for the women's program, which it has been a problem for years. Their goal was to get 20K, and they raised 30K in about 2 weeks. And that doesn't happen every day for in the middle of a season to start a campaign and get people to give and join on. That doesn't happen everywhere. It doesn't happen at a lot of HBCUs. It doesn't happen in a lot of D2 programs. So, just seeing the community rally around a program that kind of had always been an afterthought compared to the men, it was a lot. So it was really good to see and witness.
All right, Drew, you want to close it off with any thoughts here before we go to story 3?
Of these 3 runs, the Johnson C run did not surprise me as much as the other ones. And I'm obviously taking myself out of the conversation because I am part of the internal things at Morehouse. But Johnson C went 8-2 the year prior, ran out of gas, so they made the adjustment last year and was able to get over the top. So that one did not shock me as much as anything else. Winston-Salem coming out of nowhere. But what do all 3 of these have in common, Brian? Bold hires.
Okay.
All 3 of these had bold hires. Coach Terry at Winston-Salem. Releasing Coach Whitler, who had great regular season success at Morehouse, and bringing in somebody from outside of the HBCU diaspora in Larry Dixon, and then bringing Coach Flowers over from Fort Valley. He was at Fort Valley last.
Yep.
Everybody help me out because
he
was at Fort Valley last. Bringing him over to Fort Valley, from Fort Valley to Johnson C. Bold hires, athletic directors and presidents not being afraid to make those moves and rolling the dice. And what they hit 7, they hit 11, they hit the championship.
All right, well said. So that's a good summary of story number 4, the historic championship runs of Johnson C. Smith.
I'm gonna put up the church finger for real for story number 3. I'm gonna let y'all have this story.
Well, I hadn't even got there, Drew.
I know, but I'm just gonna.
You didn't even have to do that. I knew what eventually you would slide out of there. Anyway, so if story number 4 was our most heartwarming story and the most feel-good story of the year, Johnson C. Smith football, Morehouse basketball, and Winston-Salem State women's basketball, then story number 3 was probably our most, I can't even get it out, heartbreaking, disturbing, troublesome, disappointing story of the year. And that was the incident that occurred on January 31st, 2026, where Tuskegee head coach Benji Taylor was handcuffed following a basketball game between Tuskegee and Morehouse. So, first off, Kyle or Steve, were either of you there at that game?
I was not.
I was not at that game.
Okay. Well, I know there were others who were, but so the basic what happened is Morehouse ended up defeating Tuskegee 77-69. Now, this was 2 of the best teams in the SIAC. And obviously these 2 teams did meet in the championship game, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I was there for that one.
Yeah, okay. The result of the game, with Morehouse winning at home, overshadowed by the post-game, what we'll call detention of head coach Taylor of Tuskegee. During the handshake sequence, Taylor interacted with Morehouse campus police officer, ended up being placed in handcuffs and escorted away. He was released shortly afterward, was not criminally charged. Reports identified the individual as a campus police or security officer, not necessarily a private arena security guard. The incident seemed to have been spurred on by some extra crowd participation. Some words might have been exchanged from Morehouse football players who I think had kind of found themselves in the handshake line or something to that extent. And it was just shocking. The video was seen. Who had the video? Steve, did you have the video? Or was it? Yep, it was HBCU Game Day had the video, and
Simone
others
was there, right?
Yep, Simone. Yeah, I think Simone and Sly called the game. And it was just, as a coach, I had never, and as a basketball coach, I had never seen anything like that. And in incidents where we have seen, there have been issues going through handshake line where teams are sometimes separated. There are sometimes things that happen between players. We've seen in that basketball season, we've seen coaches literally go after officials in a very heated tone. Coach Taylor did none of that by the video from what we saw. And to see him led away that way was one of the most disheartening things I think I had seen in the entire sports calendar year. Before I get into any of the other stuff, Kyle, Steve, I'll start with you. What your thoughts and reaction? And then again, you were there for the second meeting, which even had some extra stuff happen there as well.
Yeah, this was the story that kept on giving for some of us. And I mean, yeah, it's just I just replay it back. I just I got word about the coach being taken away in handcuffs, and then I got a video, and so then it's like, okay, I need to kind of put some context to this. So I started making calls and trying to figure out what was what. Got as best I could the facts and posted the video, and it kind of went out to the world everywhere. And there was and once those floodgates opened, they never really closed back up. And so, like I said, like, everybody was shocked, and then I got some phone calls and got some more video, and it's unfortunate at the end of the day, but like I said, it's just the story it kept giving, because after this, we waited, and I think it was the three of us were on here talking about, waiting for Morehouse to make us, waiting for Morehouse to make a statement, obviously that was above Drew's head, but waiting for them to make a statement, and then, we finally got the letter, the internal memo sent to everybody else, and that kind of reignited it too. And then we get to the SIAC championship game, and we're watching the game, and I'm sitting at the scoreboard or the scorer's table, and everybody starts looking up, and I start looking up, and I'm seeing the video of it coming again, and it just, I'm like, I don't even know what you want to do. And then there was that, and then they finished the game, and then afterwards, then you had the press conference where Coach Taylor talked about some of the things, announced the lawsuit and talked about some of the things that, the fallout that he had experienced, that he had kind of kept quiet during the season. So, man, this was, I don't know. I thought, just when you think you've seen everything, you see something new.
Yeah. Kyle, your thoughts.
Yeah, first of all, as an alum, it was an extraordinary event to be able to have that happen on Morehouse's campus, knowing Dr. King was about social justice, about having some wisdom and prudence about how to go about handling situations. But what concerned me more than anything else was the delay from the administration in addressing the whole incident. I know they said to alumni that we were doing our due diligence to be able to see exactly what happened, how to address it, and reaching out to Coach Taylor's family. That's what they claim. All I can say is this: it has to be handled better. Something to that nature has to be handled better. Their PR did not get back to people, especially media, in a timely fashion as well. And then, if I'm an alum and I couldn't get through, I just thought it was just poorly handled. And where it goes from here with the litigation, it's out of, I think it's really a PR nightmare. And I do not believe that athletic department, as well as the administration, will handle a situation like this again in the manner that they did. That's all I have to say.
And if I can just jump in once more, again, just talking about the fallout and the implications of this, I got a call from, I had a good conversation with, I called to talk to Reginald Ruffin over at Tuskegee to talk to him about something else. And it was right after this. And, he and I had a good long conversation, and I did publish some of the things that he told me, and some of the stuff I just kept quiet, private. But he and I sat on the phone and he talked, and he was literally, you could hear him almost in tears talking about the impact that this has had on, his head coach, his program, and everything like that. And, especially when it got played on the Jumbotron at the game again, and how that opened up some wounds and things like that. And so it was a lot to this. I mean, even, me, again, we put the story out there first, and we were kind of in the head of it. And even in the situation where the video board thing, I just happened to be right there. So I kind of got into it again. So people were giving me some dirty looks, about reporting it. But, that's at the end of the day, I think this is a cautionary story for everybody on so many levels, but also about where we are in this world where, this ain't the 1980s, 90s, or even, when I was in school in the 2000s, everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a camera, a video camera in their pocket that can zoom in on everything that's going on. And it doesn't take much to be your stuff to be around the world. And luckily I got it, and I try to be as responsible as I could with it, and try to get as much facts as I could, even in the midst of it. But you're not always going to get that everywhere, and you can't control and you can't contain it. Once it happens, I had to tell somebody, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Mm-hmm. And so, I think on so many levels, it was a lesson for, not just Morehouse, but everybody on, having the etiquette, being ready, being responsive. So many lessons that really need to be learned out of. I know people like to sweep it under the rug, but and people might think that people like us sensationalize it, but these things are going to be out there, and it's better for us to contextualize it and have the information than to duck and dodge us and let other people come up with other narratives. So much of that.
That point right there, Steve, is a great point, because you saw how the national media, all of a sudden, they took over.
Yeah.
From the ESPNs to the Yahoo to whoever, Bro Bible, and I'm like, you guys, why are you guys making comments about it, right? But the reality is this: it was poorly handled, and hopefully there's a way that all of the conferences, as well as athletic departments, can learn how to be able to train their people better, especially the security people, in handling sensitive situations. Because like you said, everybody can become a reporter because everybody has a cell phone, and all you have to do is hit video or photograph a situation, and then other people will contextualize what's going on. So you're right. Let's keep it within the HBCU family. I think you guys did a great job at really getting the story out to the people.
Somebody brought up a great point in the chat that this happened during the period when the ICE situation, when ICE incidents were happening in Minnesota. So
yeah,
the national media was I mean, any time there was anything that looked like an unlawful detainment, that was on the radar. And then you go to, wait a minute, this is happened. Did something happen in a sports venue? I mean, this is a safe space usually for, you know, basketball coaches and players. And the one place where, you know, you're kind of, there's a decorum, so to speak, is the handshake line. Now, you know, we're not, that's a whole nother story about handshake lines and whether we should or shouldn't have them and all that. That's a different debate, but they do happen. And in a conference game, matter of fact, between two of the premier historic institutions of the conference,
Martin Luther King's alma mater. At the end of King Month, going into Black History Month, one of my friends pointed out, and you got an unlawful detainment by a Black man. I mean, like I said, I think you just when you know covering just when you think you have seen everything, you know, you see a fight that ends a championship game before it starts. You see all of these things, and it's just like, wow, I guess I haven't seen it. What will we see a year from now? My God.
Great point.
Just to wrap up here, the SICs did fine Morehouse an undisclosed amount for failing to meet mandated safety and security standards and required the institution to implement corrective measures. That discipline does not independently resolve every claim by Taylor, but it did confirm that the post-game environment did not meet the conference's expectations.
They got to stop this undisclosed finding. I'm glad they got fined. They needed to get fined.
You think it should be disclosed, Steve?
I think it should be. I think that stuff should be disclosed. I think
why are we not disclosing fines? Why are we not disclosing deals, contracts, and everything else? We're the only ones who don't want to disclose numbers. You ever notice that?
Well, why do you think that? Why don't we? That's a large. Hold on. Okay, we won't table that because that's a larger discussion about why we don't think that happens or why you think it should happen. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you see our D1 guys, you see the big boys, they disclose every detail of a contract, every media contract.
But it's not necessarily the schools that are disseminating that information.
Schools do it as well.
Okay.
Brian,
you know, I mean, I was at that Central and Howard fight a couple years ago, and like 24 guys got suspended, and they didn't say any names, and you know, it's like, oh my God, like who's going to be able to play next week? You know, but you know, that's
Prairie View versus Southern. They had a fight, pre-game fight as well. They had all those suspensions. Then all of a sudden, some of those star players got a chance to play on for the next game to help Southern get into the championship.
So both of you are for more transparency, obviously.
Definitely. And answer our phone calls.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
That part.
Answer, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
You see, we call. You know, we call.
Build a relationship. Even if I got a report, I talked to a leader the other day. Even if I got a report, he said, you know, I know one day you're gonna have to report something that I don't want to put out there, but at least I know I can talk to you, I can have a conversation, and I can give you something to go off of beyond just, you know, just have that relationship, you know. But that's another thing.
I do agree that
somebody says that institutions do not disclose contracts, fine amounts, and etc. Why? Well, I don't.
That information, when we find out about it, usually that information gets leaked. Usually somebody makes a call or somebody's agent gets involved to make it known. But there's, you know, so I mean that part happens where it's getting disseminated and we find out what it is. But anyway, I do. You also mentioned one last thing here. In March, Taylor filed a federal lawsuit seeking more than $1 million from Morehouse and 2 campus police officers, alleging physical, emotional, financial, and reputational harm resulting from the detention. A very tough press conference to look at, and you guys mentioned again the whole incident at the championship game, which I think in that, just for me to summarize, the networks were trying to give a context to a group or an audience that had never seen that incident or didn't know those teams. I don't know if it needed to be simulcast in-house on that part.
I wish I get it. I'm not mad at ESPN for talking about it. I'm not. I said it then. I'm not mad for them for talking about it. But if you're the people who are running the Jumbotron, and from what I understand, it wasn't a secret. Hey, at this point, and that was a big gripe for AD Ruffin, that you hadn't seen the Jumbotron the whole entire SIC tournament. But then when it gets to that situation, you have it. So, and I will say, and let me apologize to the MEAC, because in March, they said that they issued a public reprimand to head Howard softball coach Torrey Tyson and assessed a $1,500 institutional fine to the university. So they did do that. So maybe more of it's coming. I don't know. But, it's interesting.
Okay. Well, let's move over to story number 2 here. We're already moving here. We're getting to story 2. Well, story number 2 happens to be the transformational moment or the introduction of 2 former NFL stars into the HBCU football world, as Michael Vick had his first season with Norfolk State University and Deshaun Jackson at Delaware State. And they could not have had 2 different debuts. Deshaun Jackson's team was in the hunt for the MEAC title. I mean, we were talking about what it might look like to see Delaware State at the Celebration Bowl going into the final week of the season. That team was 1-11 in 2024. They were 8-4, contending for the title in the final week of the season. Michael Vick's team, unfortunately, did not have the kind of success, as they finished 1-11 overall. I believe it was a 10-game losing streak to end the season, 0-5 in MEAC play. Start with you, Steve. What was the impact when we look back on it for year 1 for Vick and Jackson?
It was good for the bottom line over here for sure. I mean, they might not have won it. They might not have won on the scoreboard, but we did some winning. In terms of attention for Norfolk State. We went to the first game that he coached in, and obviously people, a lot of people thought he might have a level of success, based off the fact that Norfolk, had some, they had some talent coming back, and a lot of people felt pretty, felt like they might be a sleeper, but they never woke up. But it kept Norfolk relevant. They had the attendance. Their attendance went way up, so that's important. I mean, you're talking about a Norfolk State program that's, again, never really been a consistently successful football program since the 70s. So it's a bar. It's got to get raised. They got to do better this year. But I mean, again, just in terms of people talking about an interest there for Vic, for sure, at Norfolk State, it definitely brought everything up. And then Deshaun Jackson, I mean, I actually had to go to a game at Dover, Delaware. I never thought that was going to happen. So, a meaningful one in late November. So, obviously, people, were, they opened up some eyes early, and, it was a great ride. So, yeah, I think for the MEAC, it's just interesting seeing the MEAC being the celebrity coach league now. When when the SWAC had some celebrity coaches, some of the MEAC folks were thumbing their nose, and also the subtle undercurrent of the veteran traditional coaches versus these NFL superstars that we saw at the Celebration Bowl. So it played out all year long, and yeah, I think it was good for the MEAC.
Kyle, your thoughts?
Next time, Steve, can you send some of that bottom line over here? Look, man, Deshaun Jackson, I think that story within itself was very significant. What he was able to do to get the talent, to get some of those young men from the California area to come all the way to Delaware to play for him, that was pretty good, as well as assembling a really good coaching staff. Not so much on the Norfolk State side. The coaching staff went through some turmoil, right? Coach Vic admitted when I had an interview with him later that he had to learn some things. He vows it's not going to be like that the sophomore year for him. And I can see that. There's a possibility for him to improve, but there's a lot of room for improvement there. Can the Hornets have a repeat this year? I'm not so certain about that. They lost some good talent. But it doesn't mean that Deshaun Jackson didn't recruit to get some new talent to replenish those guys, right? So if Michael Vick, here's the bigger question. If Michael Vick does not win again this season, is he still going to be in Norfolk? Right? That's the bigger question.
He'll be back on TV.
If people still come, he'll be there if he wants to be.
If he wants to be,
long and short of it.
And I think that's the key. If he wants to be, right?
But he's gonna get it. He's gonna start off the season with an L against Winston-Salem State. We're gonna continue his misery. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Y'all go ahead and clip that. But Torrey Woodbury got to slide in there and knock him off. But I hope. But after that game, I hope things get better for them. Because I do think that he's there and he cares, and he didn't come to show up the way that it showed up last year. So outside of that first game, I'm looking for redemption for him. So we'll see.
Yeah. Only thing I would say, guys, in my opinion, I don't know if that's the number 2 story of the year, in my opinion. But I think Vic has to put a better program together this season. I think you does that translate into 2, 3, 4 wins versus 5 or 6 more wins? No, I don't know. I don't see it. But I think all in all, it's a great thing to say we got some NFL guys, but like you said, there were a lot of guys who were looked over. And even in the press conferences, look how Chinesbury and some of the longtime guys were barely asked a question. So those things I think will be rectified. And I think also looking at this year coming up, it should be pretty entertaining in the MEAC.
Drew, your thoughts?
I was at the SWAC Media Day when Coach Prime was hired, that first one, and the buzz that was around that. I was also in Baltimore this past summer when these 2 guys were introduced and the buzz around that. And like Kyle said, everybody wanted to interview. Well, Kyle, at least during Media Day, there was only one person everybody really wanted to interview, and that was Vic. Of the 2, D-Jack was kind of like, by the way, we gonna bring you over there, And D-Jack was the only one who was dressed down. We'll just say it like that at the Media Day. So just throwing it off with that. 47,000 in Philadelphia. And then you talk about things you didn't think you would ever see, Steve. Did you ever think you would see 47,000 for Norfolk State versus Delaware State in
Yeah.
any place
On a Thursday night, nah.
on
On
a
Thursday
Thursday
night,
night?
any place. Yeah.
Any
Good
place.
point.
All right, and the fact that Norfolk has the second largest stadium, seating capacity wise of HBCU, and for them to get back up over 20,000 with their attendance is significant. So this does have some significance, Kyle. Like I said, it may not be number 2, but it definitely had impact this year.
Very quick. Will either over 6 wins for D-Jack or Vic? Will either have over 6 wins this season? Kyle, yes or no?
One will, yeah. And I believe that will be Delaware State.
Okay. Steve.
I give them both a chance. I mean, Norfolk State, besides Winston, they do also have VUL and Chicago State on their schedule. So there should be some opportunities there. And they were close in some games last year. They didn't get blown out other than that South Carolina State game. I will say this about the media day thing and the questions. It would probably help. I would love to ask Coach Berry more questions, but my God, it takes an hour and a half for them to get to him. And they only got 6 schools in the MEAC. It was some other coaches that was getting 30. It was some coaches that was not NFL guys that was getting 30 minutes worth of questions. And sometimes I'd be like, why are we here? And it wasn't just the NFL guys. Some of them are no longer here.
Yeah, that's the way I was about to say. That coach is no longer here.
So
let's not forget the Hampton reference.
I love being able to ask a question. Now a lot of it was you could say a question. A lot of it was people just wanted to be on with them. Like they just wanted to talk to them. And some of them people probably need to be weeded out. But again, if you're the MEAC and it's football season and you got 6 teams, you kind of like the ugly girl who got cute over the summer. You trying to get every angle you can get.
Steve gonna get us put off of YouTube.
Boy, I tell you what, the Instagram. Boy, all of a sudden the Instagram filter.
He ain't lying.
Boy,
he ain't lying.
I mean, hey, it was like them braces came off. They got slimmer. They got
He's
some new
looking good.
clothes.
Well, you know what, Steve?
You see why I'm in trouble everywhere I go.
I see it. I love it, Steve. See, I can stay out of trouble and bring you on the show more. I can get less bullets.
It don't matter. I could be in a press conference asking a question, and the smoke's gonna come. So
embrace the smoke. We don't duck smoke around here. I love it. Okay, well, we're down to the number 1 story, and we're going to Drew. Can we take a short break, and then when we come back, we got the number 1 story and a special guest to talk about our number 1 story. I want you guys in the chat. We've gone through 24 stories. You guys tell us, what do you think is the number 1 story? We've talked about a lot of different things that happened in the 25-26 year. There's one story that we have not talked about. Let me see how many guys in the chat can guess it. Guys and gals. We have some ladies in the chat. And we got a special guest joining us as well. Let's take a short break. Right after these words, we come back with the top story from the 2025-26 HBCU season. Chat room, get going. Let us know what you think it is. And we'll be back right after these words.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter. From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Bryan Fulford, A.D. Drew, joined by Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends on SI, Stephen J. Gaither of HBCUGameDay.com.
Hey, Bryan, you the only one without an initial.
I assume I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I think going into the new football season, I will debut the new name with my middle initial beginning at SWAC Football Media Day. I'm just waiting to get the cards printed and going with that. So it's coming. It's coming. I'm very envious of all three of you guys. But anyway, some of the folks in the chat who are guessing the top story might have been a little late here. Let's see. You're a little late. Di Gregory Land. Harlan Hill winner was actually story number 5. Johnson C. Smith winning the CIAA was actually part of story number 4. I don't think there's any other good guesses in there.
You had one. I hit it.
Oh, you Blue Jacket.
Yeah.
Blue Jacket for life. You guessed it, Blue Jacket. Our story number 1 for the top story of the 2025-26 year was the amazing Celebration Bowl championship victory by South Carolina State, in which we were given a classic, instant classic. Maybe, I don't know, we can debate for another day whether it was the best. I remember there was another game that went into overtime that was pretty doggone good, where a team was undefeated, and that didn't happen. But anyway.
And then don't forget the joystick game.
The
We
joystick
had 100
game.
points between two teams.
Exactly. So you got those memories. But for year number 10, we got a classic as South Carolina State rallied from a 21-0 halftime deficit to Prairie View A&M with the backup quarterback coming off the bench. And we got a 4 overtime masterpiece in which they ended up winning 40-38. All kinds of various moments.
Can I stop right there at that 4 overtime?
Yeah.
Both teams had an opportunity to win it in the previous overtimes before we even got to the 4th overtime. That's what makes the 4 overtime part of it so much more dramatic.
Correct. and it, Steve, I saw you had your hand up. Do you want to add something?
No, I can't hear AD for some reason.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know. But I hear you.
Everybody else
I think I'm good.
You hear everybody else. It was also interesting watching social media react to this game in the moment, as at halftime the narrative was, oh no, what is this going to mean to Chinnis Berry's legacy if he can't finish the season with a big win, right? And then of course, the Tremaine Jackson story, and but as it worked out, in just his second season, Berry wins Celebration Bowl, has a 10-0 MEAC record in 2 seasons, and yeah. Kyle, thoughts?
Well, it was a tremendous performance, but that transformational, I guess that play has to always be something Tremaine Jackson and those guys think about. And I was talking to Coach Jackson about that play. It didn't make sense. And, of course, hindsight is 20/20, right? But when you look at how Coach Berry kept those guys in the game, kept them focused, they had a lot of momentum going into halftime. And for him to be able to win the national championship, and that's his second national championship. He won one as a, 2 with Benedict, right?
Yes.
And it was third. And now D1 HBCU national championship as well. So congratulations to the Bulldogs. It was a great game, very entertaining game. Yeah, and I saw somebody say, well, what was the ratings like? Well, ABC as well as ESPN Events was very, very happy, what happened there as far as the ratings was concerned. So, but you got to like their chances of trying to repeat to try to get back to the Celebration Bowl. That's the one thing I think the Bulldogs may have the upper hand in the MEAC at this time, but you never can count out Trey Oliver as well as those guys over at NCCU.
Steve, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this was this is what you want out of a season-ending game, Clash of Champions. Again, like you said, when you come into the game and both of these gentlemen worked their way up from the Division II ranks, and had success there, and quickly have killed that narrative that there's that much of a jump from Division I to Division II, especially in this day and age. So Tremaine Jackson, obviously a great story all year. I mean, it looked like they were running it looked like a repeat of the previous year where South Carolina State looked like a bulldog in the headlights. And but hey, that's why they play 60 minutes or 60 plus in this situation. And South Carolina State came out with Stubblefield. I was thinking about the previous quarterback, Stubblefield, and he kind of played his position all year. This was, I think, the 5th South Carolina State game I had seen this year, and he just kind of kept his head up, coming into the season. He looked like he was going to be the guy, and then he kind of fell back on the depth chart, but he kept his head up and kept going. And I think it just it exemplified everything that we've come to know and recognize about Coach Berry. Grit, determination. You hear the 1-0 mantra, and I'm a guy, I don't like cliches, but I really feel like when he says that, it's not really a cliche to him. It's a lifestyle. Now, if I never hear chop wood, carry water again, I'm gonna be personally happy. But hey, it's work. His formula works. It worked at Benedict. It's worked at South Carolina State when people were saying, how's he gonna come in here with these D2? He's the D2 coach and these D2 players. And I mean, if you go back and look at how not only the fact that they have run through the MEAC, but also how dominant they've been. I think their average margin of victory, I did the numbers, is over like 23 a game. And, you know, that's really deflated by those close games against North Carolina Central. Because other than that, I mean, they're running the rest of the MEAC silly, you know? And so it's been, you know, really great to watch, you know, as somebody who 2 years ago, when he came into that job, I wrote an article for HBCU Game Day talking about, you know, the precedent of D2 coaches and, you know, coming into Division 1, and how a lot of them have fared. You know, we think about some of the examples that haven't fared that great, but you also think about Bill Hayes, who came from Winston-Salem State and went to North Carolina A&T, turned them into a winner. And then on his heels, you had Pete Richardson, who won championships in the CIAA, and then he went over to the SWAC and ran the SWAC for a while. So, you know, he's on the trajectory as you know, as an all-time great already, and you know, he still has a lot more in the tank. So,
can I just add this in? A lot of people overlooked him, and I just, from talking, when I had my first conversation with him when he won the first championship over at Benedict, I said, this guy needs to be on somebody's radar. And I did talk to a couple of ADs who were in need of coaches. And one said, oh, he's pretty good for a D2. That's pretty almost better than the high school, isn't it? Very dismissive. And that program has never been able to get off the floor. So I'm just going to tell you, you've got to really look at the person and look at what they're able to contribute. And I think that's the same thing with Tremaine Jackson. And one thing you have to like, they both have big personalities, right? And they bring in some very interesting quotes for us, and helps us with the bottom line, Steve.
Media friendly.
So you look at how those guys are doing it. You talk about the dog and the grit over at Prairie View, and you talk about all the things that Coach Dennis Berry talks about over at South Carolina State. Is very entertaining, and it's good to have for our HBCU college football.
Yeah, and if I can jump into, I really appreciate that, because I got a sense, you know, looking at just, you know, being a student of history as well as what's going on right now, you know, things kind of come in ebbs and flows. And before we got to the celebrity pick, everybody was looking for the guy with FBS Division 1 experience and this kind of cookie cutter coach that didn't really give you a lot of personality. You know, they went away from the Alvin Sean Wyatts and went to and the Bill Hayes and those guys, and they kind of went to those cookie cutter guys. And I love the fact that both of these guys, you know, Tremaine Jackson as well as Chennis Berry, are not cookie cutter. They're not afraid to be entertaining and to be themselves. And, you know, you're not going to get that coach speak. And so that, to me, again, even with the cliche, even with the what I would consider cliches from some people, it just comes off different with those two. So I love that. And then also quickly, every time that South Carolina State fan base, my God, it's just a match made in heaven, him and those guys. Because, you know, they're just, you know, they never feel like they got enough respect, you know? I mean, I literally, when I went to that Delaware State, South Carolina State game, and on my flight back, I ran to first people I see are these South Carolina State people like, yeah, you didn't think we were gonna win, did you? You know what I mean? Like they were just hungry and wanted and it's just a match made in heaven, I think, him and those two. And hopefully they can keep him for the long term.
I'm gonna
hold on a second.
This one last
Go ahead,
thought.
Kyle, real quick.
It's great for media because those guys are accessible, and they never turn down any of my phone calls or texts. And I think that has a lot to play with their success and how they promote their programs as well.
Drew, let's introduce our special guest. I don't know if you told these guys who our special guest is going to be. Did you?
No, I did not.
Let's introduce our special guest, Drew, before I get ready to bring him on.
Well, we're just gonna be brief because you guys really left no meat on the bone for me to even talk about how I felt about the Celebration Bowl. So we just gonna bring in the organizer of the Cricket the Cricket Celebration Bowl, now
Get it right.
presented by Toyota, Mr. John Grant.
Get it right, Drew.
What's going on, John?
Guys, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am so happy to see all of my good friends here today. So thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Thank you for coming on. Well, the Celebration Bowl 10, the story of the year. How does that make you feel when you hear that? Of all the stories that we've gone through, there's a lot of things that happened in the 25-26 year. Your event, that game, story of the year.
How did it make me feel? How about me holding a bottle of champagne? And I'm going to go ahead and let you know I've been toasted.
That is beautiful. That was not solicited, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. I love it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brian.
No. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I was going to say, look, first, I want to thank you guys, for the outstanding job you do collectively, but also individually. You all have been tremendous supporters of what we do, tremendous supporters of the universities that are involved, the athletic programs, the coaches, etc. That work hard every year to get to our national championship. And so I want to thank you for that. And then secondly, I want to thank you for this acknowledgement. What a game. What an experience. I will tell you that I am certainly proud of both coaches. They did an outstanding job. And to have a game that I will tell you at one point, I thought in the first half, I was up walking through some of the suites and Prairie View scored again and the score was 21-0. And I sat down and I told the guy, oh my gosh, this is going to be a blowout. But more important, I was thinking our viewers are going to go away. But then to see what happened in the second half, both teams played extremely well. And to come down to 4 overtimes. And during that time, each team had a chance to win. Mm-hmm. So, in each of those, missed chip shot field goal by Prairie View. And then some missed opportunities also by South Carolina State. But to have that come down to a game that went into 4 overtimes, our viewership peaked at 3 million, averaged out at 2.3 million. I would imagine that peak came in the 4 overtimes. But again, thank you all for that acknowledgement. And again, what an outstanding experience for those that were there and you guys that covered it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Grant, because I was going to ask you where and I don't know if you're able to if the metrics tell you where exactly it peaked, but I know from a social media standpoint, there were probably a lot of people who kind of walked away from it a little bit, but I know the buzz picked up somewhere in that third, fourth quarter, where all of a sudden it was like, yo, get to the TV because we got a game now, especially when they tied it up at some point when they tied it up at 21. So do you get that kind of information in terms of like where exactly it peaked?
We do, and it actually peaked near like midway fourth quarter.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Because that's when people were coming in. We've got a football game; it's a tie game, and we saw the numbers starting to increase at that point, and it actually peaked out at the 3 million at the second overtime.
Nice. Kyle, you got any questions there for Mr. Grant?
But John, I just want to know from your standpoint, and I guess everybody wants to know, can you repeat this? We want to know if you can be able to bring us another Celebration Bowl like this.
Well, let me tell you the beautiful thing about this championship game, and when you look at it in its history, it's been close with the exception of one game. And that was the 2021 when Jackson State played South Carolina State. That was the largest margin, and then that margin was matched when Jackson State again played South Carolina State and in their repeat. So beyond that, every game has been close. Some of them, all of them coming down to the wire for the most part. So this is what playing for a championship should be like. This is what you should expect, and fans can expect, regardless of which school you went to. If and when you look at our audience and our audience profile, when we have over 67% of our viewers are non-Black, and so that tells us people are anticipating and they expect a great production and they expect a wonderful competition, and that's what they're getting.
Steven.
Yeah, well, first off, congratulations, Mr. Grant, for getting number one here. I think I would ask, having been to all of these games and seeing the evolution of it all, there was a point where we come back from the pandemic, and obviously, we got that shot in the arm with Jackson State and Deion Sanders and the notoriety that he brought. But just, a lot of people thought that this game, might fall off afterwards and things like that. But how have you guys been able to keep the upward momentum regardless of who shows up for your game? And just being able to ride the way, the ebbs and flows of just the world as it shifts.
Well, look, there's one reality. This is our Super Bowl. There isn't another one for us. And so our objective always is that we're creating a world-class second to none experience, Steve, for the fans. We want a world-class second to none experience for the fans who attend. Though for the players, we want to make sure that when they come onto this stage that they have experienced nothing like this. And then the third one is we want a world-class second to none experience for the people who tune in. All of those factors are important. And we also want to make sure that you guys, our media, also have a tremendous experience. That's why we feed you well. We provide, make sure the accommodations for you are there, that it's an easy engagement, and that you can walk away going that you have the same kind of experience that the fans do, although you're working, but it makes you want to also come back and be a part of that as well.
Drew, what you got?
All right. First of all, once again, congratulations, John, for what you've done. Now, you've had a big announcement recently also with the partnership with Toyota. So my question is going to revolve around that. Do games like this, or did this game help push that partnership over the edge because they are able to see those metrics and some of those things when you have these type of classic games? Do things like that help push these kind of deals with national sponsors, John?
Well, what matters when you talking to major partners, first and foremost, we talk about scale. Scale comes with viewership. There's no stadium in the world that has 3 million people that can house 3 million. So if, Mercedes-Benz Stadium if every seat is sold, every seat's about 64,000. So, we configure it to handle just about 38,000. That's the configuration that we use. So does it help? Yes. We were fortunate this year that the representative from Toyota was at that game, was down there on the sidelines for the 4 overtimes, was in the booth right there at the end zone for the play that, some people say is controversial, but I think the fact you got to have one of those in your game. That's why people keep talking about it. But that AD, yes, it does add to the fact that you have championship football. And let me say this again, championship football at the highest level. So when you're in the mix, as we are with the college football playoffs, because we're in the mix with them, our game the opening for our game is College Game Day. We follow right after them at 12 noon when they end. So they lead into this game talking about our game as a championship game. So when you put all those factors together, that we're a part of bowl season, we're part of championship season, and the final point that I'll make, we have to keep in mind, we open the Cricket Celebration Bowl presented by Toyota opens the most watched 2 to 3 weeks of college football all season, and that's with bowl season. But we open it with a championship. So the first game of the bowl season is a national championship. The last game of bowl season is a national championship. And we, meaning HBCUs, our fans, our alumni, our supporters, are in the most unique position that we've ever been in history. Mm-hmm. And we have to learn to appreciate the moments of where we are to assure that this moment is still here 50 years from now.
Well said.
So the people who say, well, my team is not in it, are short-sighted, because you want to support something that your team could potentially be in. Well, you know, and if that's okay, if you don't come, tune it in. If you have to run an errand, turn your TV on anyway. And if you're coming to Atlanta, time your TV to come on so while you're out of town, because that counts as well, whether you turn it or not. Turn the TVs on. That makes a difference for us. We must. In this window of time where unity matters, and our message this year across the HBCU diaspora, working with the Atlanta HBCU Alliance that has over 65 alumni chapters, is around HBCU unity. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't matter whether you're MEAC, SWAC, SIAC, or CIAA. This is your Super Bowl. And we'd like for you to come, wear your paraphernalia, advertise your university on a national stage.
Well said. Well said. I have one final question for you, Mr. Grant. And 10 years, right? 10 years of games, 10 years of highs and lows and moments. Can you share maybe for you, as you watch, obviously you are a former player, a fan of the game. What's been a moment that you think about in the 10 years that you like kind of, wow, that's like one of our best moments, a moment or two, maybe something that you recall that you can share with us?
Well, I can tell you, I'm going to give you a personal moment, then I'll give you a moment, you know, as a person putting on the game. The most personal moment for me was game number one. Game number one, and that moment became personal when I realized I'm handing the trophy to Coach Rod Broadway of my alma mater. I mean, you can't write that or make that up. In a game that was spectacular, as we all know, with the young man running for 295 yards, and then the school, and wasn't rooting, because people ask me, were you rooting for? No, I'm rooting for the winner. But that moment of realizing, oh my goodness, in the first Celebration Bowl, I'm handing the trophy to my alma mater. And that one still stick with me personally. But as far as a game that really, I'm going to go back to 2022, when Commissioner Goodell was at the game. And the game itself had Travis Hunter catching a pass, and I was at the end zone, and I turned my back to walk away because I thought, oh, this game is over. And when I turned my back, I was actually in the corner of the end zone where he caught the pass, and I'm walking away, and all of a sudden the crowd erupts, and I turned around and I see him going to the ground with the pass. What a tremendous moment, with time running out, as you guys noticed that. And I saw Coach Prime put his finger up for one, for them to kick the extra point to go into overtime. And that was, you know, that overtime game, with all that happened with it, was probably, in my mind, one of the most spectacular games because of all the other things that were involved with that. Mm-hmm. It was Coach Prime's last game at Jackson State. It was a game that, you know, had all the elements because, you know, you had Travis Hunter playing in that game. And that was his first season. You had Shedeur Sanders with what he was doing, and you had an overtime game against, a North Carolina Central team that just would not go away. And so that one was probably my most personal moment. But I will tell you, because it's close, I was standing right there on the sidelines in this past game with the questionable catch. I mean, you look at certain photos, I'm standing there with the catch. So people ask, I have heard people say that I had the refs make that call. Even I understand what you said when but those are the three moments that I'd still cherish today.
So when you saw that catch, what was your instant thought? Instant thought. First thought was what? Good or no good?
I have no comment. I have no comment. And I was standing there when the ref's arms went up, and that's all I have to go on. I mean, I was standing right there and photos show that, I was right there at the point, but I don't have a comment on that. You're not going to put me into that one, Brian. Good try, though.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
John, before we let you get out of here, anything else surrounding any of the 3 events that you want to, since you have the platform here, that you want to put out today?
Thank you, AD, for that. As you can see, I'm wearing our pin for the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge that will be on August the 28th, presented by Toyota. This is our first marketing piece of material that's going out, other than the printed material with their brand on it. We are really excited about this year's event to be a part of the opening of season. And we're excited about it for a number of reasons. Number one, I'm excited about the fact that there are a lot of games happening. So are we, people ask me, are we concerned with that fact? And I'm going to say no, because number one, we're still in Atlanta. This is the center of the universe. And we're opening the game in prime time on network television on ABC, and we're a part of the of ESPN's or ABC Saturday Night College Football Live on ABC. So that, along with we've got Alabama A&M, who haven't been here in a while, going up against Howard. Thank you so much for that. It's going to be a tremendous weekend. So it's a tremendous, and we're going to be working with BCSN. We're going to have TV monitors set up out there for people who come to our fan experience, but who want to watch their teams play. So you'll be able to watch your game, have fun in our fan experience, and engage as well. And then join us at 7:30 p.m. at that stadium. Also, guys, we got a lot of great things this year. This is going to be a fantastic year for HBCU college football. And I know you guys are chomping at the bit like I am. All of us. I mean, we can't wait for the season to start. Brian, I know you're going to be down at Florida A&M calling that game. Kyle, I'm not sure where you're going to be. And I think, Stephen, you're going to be up in Norfolk State. I already heard you declaring your win up there. But think about what I just laid out. For what was week 0, which is now, and we're going to take credit whether people give it to us or not for the decisions that were made to extend the opening of season into week 0, because I think that if people were looking at games that weren't successful, extending may or may not happen, but we know that ours has been. So we're gonna kind of take the credit for that, but excited that it is happening. And just really excited for the season. Thank you for
Black
that.
Excellence, HBCU football on display week 0, and in prime time after we all finish our games, we'll be tuning in to ABC to watch let me make sure I get it right, the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff presented by Toyota.
Yes. Doesn't that sound great when you roll it off your lips and you practice it a few times? It sounds just huge, and that's what we want it to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, again, congratulations not only to the Celebration Bowl, but the South Carolina State for giving us the classic game
and Prairie View.
Yes, and Prairie View was a part of it. Although I don't know if they
They had to pick. They had to be somebody, Brian.
Well, they did. They did. They were a part of the moment, although, it is what it was. So, yeah, again, Mr. Grant, thank you for your time this evening. We really appreciate you taking some time to join us as always, and all the support that you give our show, the Black College Sports Network, all of us, media space. Go ahead, Kyle. You got a last one?
John, since you have a nice lapel pin, I was wondering, will media be getting one of those this year?
Yes, those that are present.
I'll be there. Be coming over from
Kyle. I know you're going to
shot fired. Yes,
the game. No, seriously, the answer is, you raise a good point. We'll be happy to send some out to our media partners. We want you to wear those. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you,
Mr. Grant. Be well. All right. Always good stuff. That kind of brings a nice little bow to the stories of the year. Just to recap again for anybody who might have missed the top five. Again, story number 5. You got. Let me.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, you got the graphics for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Story number 5, Virginia Union's Curtis Allen winning the Harlan Hill Award. Story number 4 was the historic championship droughts that ended for Johnson C. Smith football, Morehouse basketball, and Winston-Salem State women's basketball.
Notice the guy on the far left in that Morehouse picture. I just want everybody to notice him.
Wait a minute. Are you in there? Did you make the photo?
I'm the only one in the suit.
Oh, look at you. Far left. Oh,
well, hey, if we're going to do that, who was there for all 3 of the moments?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Look at you. Okay.
That's what you call dedicated media.
Man, I got you. Okay.
Now, hold up, Steve. Is that kind of like those people who go to church on Christmas and Easter only? Is that one of them type scenarios? Or are you there all the time?
Well, I mean, I'm not in Atlanta every week.
I know you're not in Atlanta, but you covering something every day is what I'm trying to get at. Every weekend, though.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more, faithful there than other places. So yeah.
Story number 3: Tuskegee head men's basketball coach Benji Taylor handcuffed following the game between Morehouse and Tuskegee. Story number 2: Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson's first season on the HBCU football circuit and all of the transformative things that it meant to their program and just the national attention. And story number 1 was South Carolina State's Celebration Bowl Classic victory over Prairie View A&M in 4 overtimes.
How about Morehouse coming in twice? We have 2 stories in the top 5.
Yeah. I mean, y'all got an inside track though. Come on now.
Hold up.
Oh, there's some
it's not like I
on
voted
here.
on any of these.
You just can't let us have one, right, Steve? We just want one.
Hey, Kyle, we ain't gonna talk about the Winston-Salem articles that we get on HBCU Game Day just out of random.
Well, now that I think about it, the HBCU flag football women's national champions were not on this list. Top 25, back to back.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, see, there you go.
Well,
there you go. Label me as one who didn't know that was even a sport.
The person who said flag football was gonna hit it off over 3 years ago.
Who, you or Steve?
Me.
Oh,
I said I told everybody.
We got a dynasty going, Brian. You better wake up, man. I know you don't pay attention to the D1s, but we got a dynasty going.
Well, and now that the
I'm gonna claim that championship.
The MEAC now has will we see any CIAA teams take on these new MEAC schools that are starting programs? Will we see that happen?
It'll be interesting. I don't know quite yet that it's a division thing yet.
It would be at least one more year before it's it's still an emerging sport for at least one more season.
So yeah, I mean they could come to the mother conference and get smoked.
I tell you what, I have learned more about Winston-Salem State over the last few years, last season or two, than previously. So so credit to the Rams for making news in positive ways, and obviously
some of us. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Can I say the most shocking thing out of our top 5?
Yeah.
No Jackson State, no FAMU.
There is that. Now
Well,
there was because now that game that did not happen, that game that never happened in Atlanta that one might still be on here. Like because that one helped the pockets too. I mean,
might have cost the man a job too. You know, who knows? It might have cost the coach a job.
FAMU and Morehouse were good for the FAMU and Morehouse were good for the pockets this year for sure. Do you know?
I tell you, boy.
Tigers.
Well, hey, again, be looking out. We'll make sure in the post I'll put the top 25 listing there in the description of the show, so that way you guys can go back and references. I don't know, maybe we'll get our editors to kind of clip all the various segments that we have done over the past 5 weeks into one show. Yes, for Israel, that's his top 5. Jackson State folks. Look, I tried to tell them it wasn't winning the back-to-back wasn't the story. It was last year was the story. Last year was the big one, which was a top moment. I mean, honestly, be real. They came to our house and beat us. That was the story. Doing it a second time was just like icing on the cake, and it's like whatever.
The story with the second time, like Steve said, was because the game was supposed to happen 6 weeks before it happened, probably FAMU had already checked in and was already ready to go on.
Yeah, we got a couple wins under our belt, man. We were rolling.
Man, listen,
I mean, from the second loss occurred.
From the announcing somebody
the week before.
From the announcing somebody else's game to now we're gonna be to Atlanta, to everybody looking for the tickets, to the week of the game. Yeah, we're not gonna have a game. To the way that it goes. Yeah, no, that should be
a big story. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I remember about that game. I remember having that conversation with Mississippi Valley State's athletic director at SWAC Football Media Day. And her oh my God, their name slips my mind right at the moment, but she really sold me on why why it was going to happen. And even though there was a lot of people at that point in time still wondering, is this game really going to happen? And she was very adamant, very positive, and yes, we're excited about this game. I was like, okay, maybe it will happen.
Well, somebody sold her because she wasn't even the athletic director when it happened. So we got to make sure we clear that up. Somebody sold her on it.
That part, very important. No, there will not be a three-peat this year, Israel. I'm sorry to disappoint y'all. There will not be a three-peat on everything I have in my mama's name. There will not be a three-peat. I'm just putting it out there. It's not gonna happen. But I did learn today that the Norfolk State losing streak will continue. I did learn that, and I will be looking to.
Hey man, you gonna win some money. I'm trying to, you gonna win some money.
Capitalize where I can, no doubt. All right, Kyle, let people know where they can find you, social media handles, any stories or things you got that you're working on.
All right, guys. First of all, thank you for having me on with you guys this Sunday. Stephen, thank you for all that you've done for HBCU Sports as well as Bryan and A.D. You guys do a great job, man. HBCU Legends. Go to HBCU Legends. The social media handle is just that. You can also find me on at KILT Mosley. Yeah, because my KT Mose was hacked. Guys,
there's a lot of that happening around. That got me worried. I
got hacked at the celebration before the celebration.
Do not vote on anything somebody sends you something to vote on. Do not do it. They stole my identity and everything, and X is no help at all trying to get your account back. So 4,000 followers are gone. So back to square one. So go to Kyle T. Mosley. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to get back. I'm gonna have to get with you because they got me too, but I did get my Twitter back. Yeah, I kind of was going through a little depression there. But
That's
yeah.
good.
So, but yeah, so we'll work on that.
Good news.
What were you voting on? Were you voting on social media, like on Twitter or something like that?
No, Kim Davis sent me what I thought it was Kim Davis sending me, hey, vote for my podcast because she has a new podcast. I was like, oh, wow,
I got one of them.
I got
I wouldn't vote for my mother on Twitter now. Seriously, I wouldn't vote for my mother on Twitter because that's how they get you.
Yeah, they got me, man.
Oh, okay. Well, they could have got me too.
They got a string of people also, man. So until they suspended my account when the guy went on an Elon Musk rant for some reason. Okay. Anyway, also, guys, check us out at HBC Legends on Sports Illustrated. You can go to si.com/college/HBCU. And this is going to be our 6th season on with Sports Illustrated as a partner. So that's going to be pretty good. But guys, support us as much as you can. Support all of these guys, Game Day as well as BCSN. Those guys do a tremendous job, and Dr. Cavill and those guys as well. Support everybody. Okay.
Appreciate you, Kyle. All right, Steven, fire away.
Oh yeah, well, first, Echo and Kyle, appreciate you and the conversations that we have and all the work that you do. Making me work a little bit harder to put in these phone calls because I know Kyle is gonna call. If I go first, Kyle is gonna call somebody up and get something else that I don't have. So now I got to get on. I got to up my game on that end, but it's all good. But thanks, Bryan and A.D, for having me on. I'm always on the comments, but yeah, for sure. Obviously, HBCU Game Day. .com. Go there, daily, spend some time on there. It's an attention economy, but hey, it's even a recession in that fact. Now we got to deal with AI and things like that. And when you go to search on Google, they're going to give you your information without paying the people who actually put it on there. So be thoughtful about that. Go to the websites and everything like that. And follow my other YouTube page, WSSU Ram Nation, where I'm unashamedly unbiased about Winston-Salem State University. And follow me everywhere at Stephen J. Gaither. And
can I make one quick comment? Stephen makes a great point. HBCU media is taking a hit. Media as a whole is taking a hit. Let's unify with one another. And I think what John said, the unity part should be across the board, especially with this great season coming up. Support everybody if you can, and just give us some grace as well, because we are having some challenges when it comes to fighting this AI situation.
You guys bring up some interesting stuff. I'd love to get into that maybe another time with you guys and hear kind of some of those challenges and just because I'm to the point now with Twitter, I don't know what's real because I see things that I'm like, that looks real, but then I get to thinking,
if you see an old black lady cussing, telling it like it is, it's probably fake. If you don't know that she's real, I hate that. I'm serious. I hate that. They clone Tyrone is real. They can clone us all now. So
I guess. I mean, I'm seeing pictures of people inserted into what looked to be real images, and it's just like, wow, we're at that
my
stage.
Articles have been over in Sri Lanka as well as Pakistan. And
yeah.
It's just amazing how they're just pirating our content.
Wow. All right. So there you go, folks. Yeah, appreciate you, Emmett, and appreciate everybody in the chats. A lot of great content. You know where you can get your sources. You can always find good information on Facebook, on Twitter, on the internet, and in these YouTube streets as well. And please make sure you're supporting all of our content creators and read the articles and stay informed. That's the best way. And then support your universities. All right.
I forgot about that one.
I forgot about that. That number one story we missed right there. There's number one story that we missed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Before we get out of here, I just want to thank Steve and Kyle for answering my call when I asked them guys to come on, because and part of the reason I asked you guys to come on as we went through our top 5 stories is because I knew each of you had covered these stories and had did tremendous work either on video or written or both with these stories and everything. So I figured why not bring you guys on to kind of bring your perspective of these stories, whether you agree with us or not that they were the top 5. I just
Morehouse
to get you guys
Morehouse at number 1 and number 2.
But also on a personal level, when I do reach out to you guys, be it when I'm doing work with ESPN or doing work with Morehouse, or just in general, you guys are usually receptive, and you take my stuff, whether you run it directly as I have written it or use it as part of another story that you guys are doing. So I just want to thank you guys for doing that, because although I would love to write like you guys do, I do enough writing with my 9 to 5 for Morehouse where I don't really have the time to get into some of the stories that I would really love to get into. But one day, hopefully, I will. They hire me an assistant so I can do a little bit more writing on
that's
back
what
on
I'm
the
talking
HBCU
about.
level like I used to and everything.
Hold on,
but
man.
I just want to thank you guys for the work that you guys do and telling our stories and everything. Fellas.
You mean Morehouse? We added some extra money to the budget. What's going on?
Well, what budget you saw?
Wishful thinking. I think that was going on over there. That was
Brian, get us out of here before I say something.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't want him to have more time on his hands.
I don't need time that bad.
For Kyle T. Mosley, Stephen J. Gaither, he's A.D. Drew. I'm Brian Fulford. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure to find us. BCSN Pod Zone, the podcast of this show, along with all the shows on the Black College Sports Network, is available on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and more. So that's going to do it for tonight. You guys be well. Have a great week. And next, we start the new calendar. July coming up. We will not do a show next weekend, July 4th weekend. We'll probably, again, we'll figure out something, but we will not be live next Sunday. So probably in a couple weeks, we'll be back. So you guys have a great 4th. Be safe. If you start with 10 fingers and 10 toes going into the weekend, please make sure you come out of the weekend with 10 fingers and 10 toes. That's my only public service announcement that I can give. Be safe, have fun, and we look forward to seeing everybody all fingers and toes in a couple weeks. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Take care.